Now, I want to share with you guys a piece written by journalist Nick Soulsby regarding Big Long Now. This is from his website, nirvanalegacy.com. Quote, I am fascinated by the song Big Long Now. What interests me is its unique status. It's the only original outtake from the Bleach sessions. That singular status makes it intriguing to me. In the interview for my book, Dark Silvers, Jack Endino stated that there were no additional takes of Big Long Now. One take, bam. Which means that the version on Incesticide and the rehearsal video on With the Lights Out, that's it. The fact that it's the only song on the album-length releases during Cobain's lifetime to not end up on a live bootleg, to never make it onto a live recording, it gives it an air of mystery. In passing, while touring Tacoma, I was spending the afternoon with John Perky, an old friend of Kurt's, and he pointed out that that song was featured on the demo tape Kurt Cobain personally handed to him, the raw tape of the Bleach sessions. I commented on how unique it is that there are no live versions and no one knows when it was played. John casually replied, though, that's not strictly true. I saw it twice. And he remembers one of the venues too. In my book, I mentioned that Chad remembers playing the song, as does Jason Everman. Actually, heck, I don't do this often, but I'm going to quote my own work. The next two paragraphs are from Dark Silvers, Seeing Nirvana in the Shards of Incesticide. Chad Channing was drummer from sometime following a May 21st, 1988 show until his last show with the band on May 17th, 1990. Chad has claimed that the song was played during his time with the band. It has also been claimed that it was a favorite of Jason Everman's, Nirvana's second guitarist from February to July of 1989. Also, in Portland, Oregon, on June 10th, 1989, a fanatical fan requested the song. Chris Novoselic then replied, we don't play that one anymore. The phrasing suggests that there was a time when they did. Likewise, the fact that the fan asked the question implies the song was played given he was asking for a song that was less than 6 months old and unreleased at that point. Unless the individual concerned had attended a home rehearsal, he must have seen it live. Furthermore, the timing is right. From April to October of 1988, only 11 songs are known from 16 shows, and between January to July of 89, only 3 full and 3 partial set lists are known from 27 shows. This is the biggest gap in the Nirvana records. Tightening the noose, 3 of 5 set lists are known for October to December of 88, so it makes it unlikely the song was unveiled until 1989. Yet, the song is declared long dead on June 10th of 89, and absent from the complete set list of the band's only show in May. This makes it possible to say that if Big Long Now was played live, we can summarize it happened during at least one of the 10 shows that took place between January and April of 89. So, where does John Perky's information fit within that? Well, what he said, without any further prompting, was, I saw Nirvana play it at a dorm show at the Evergreen State College. The first show he's referring to is Jason Everman's first show with Nirvana, where they played Dorm K208 sometime in February. There's a partial setlist available from the K208 show, just 6 songs. In other words, the claimed citing of Big Long Now as a live song takes place precisely where the evidence says it should be. Now, there's a show it'd be beautiful to see surface. It also makes Big Long Now one of the songs Jason was drilled in upon entry to the band, prior to actually taking the stage with Nirvana. Sometime in January of 89, he was made to learn this track, so there'll be rehearsal tapes around that time too, if we're lucky, and the band hopefully preserved them. It is also clear that the song was probably one of the small number of songs created from scratch, probably only just in time for the Bleach sessions alongside Sifting. Early December is that first sighting. End quote. Now I want to show you guys a clip from my second interview with Jack Endino where he touches further upon the history of Incesticide. If you want to see the full version of this interview or the previous interview with Jack, both are available in the description box below. Again, all these interviews are arranged independently by myself. If you want to support, the best way to do so is to subscribe, like, and share. When did you first hear that Incesticide was coming together? I read that Chris gave you a call and asked if you had any other songs. Is this correct? How did the process start with getting Incesticide together?
They needed a record after Nevermind. They needed something to be out that year. And they weren't ready to make a new record yet. They just weren't. You know, as you can see by, you know, in October of 92, they only had 6 songs ready. So they weren't ready to record until the following year. But the label was asking, they said, okay, we've got to capitalize on this. You know, Nevermind blew up. It's huge. We need to put something out. So someone made the decision to gather all the singles and B-sides and unreleased material together as kind of a stopgap. And I may have made the call myself to remind them that I had an outtake from Bleach sitting on the shelf, which was Big Long Now. Or possibly Chris called me and asked me what I had. But I remember specifically bringing that up because they had forgotten about the song entirely. So that's the best of my recollection right now. I don't remember who made the phone call, but I do remember that I did have to remind them that it existed, and it got added to the very tail end of Incesticide. That's the last song on side 2.
I don't even really consider that a compilation record, even though it is. Like, to me, I just consider that part of the chronology of Nirvana releases. For you, how do you compare Incesticide to Bleach? Which record do you prefer, if you prefer one?
Well, I prefer Bleach because Incesticide really feels like 2 different records to me. It feels like half of the Dale Crover record on side B and then some later odd stuff on side A. It's to me, Incesticide is a little bit, doesn't quite cohere because the Dale demo stuff is so different artistically from all the stuff on side A. You know, Sliver and those other tunes are much more sort of pop tunes. To me, as a record collector geek, I always think in terms of like the 10 songs from the Dale demo, including Pen Cap Chew is the song where the tape ran out.
Yeah.
I would have taken all those 10 songs and just called that Nirvana album number 0. I would have taken Bleach minus Floyd the Barber and Paper Cuts and put Big Long Now and Blandest on there, and then you could say, you know, and maybe the song from Sub Pop 200, and you could say, okay, here's the entire Bleach session, and here's album number 1, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's not how things ended up. So, you know, various songs from various sessions are scattered across these different releases, and to me, it's a little strange trying to get a feel for when things happened, when you've got some songs here and some songs released years later, and some songs on the box and some songs on, you know, Utero Deluxe and whatever. But that's how these things wind up. You know, you can you can refer to the Hendrix estate for this kind of confusion as well. Yeah. People decide to release things at different times.
Incesticide was released by DGC Records on December 14th, 1992. Nevermind was released on September 24th, 1991, and In Utero was released on September 13th, 1993. Thus, Incesticide was the record which gapped the bridge between Nirvana's second and third studio albums. Now, 2 years in between studio albums is not a very long time, but as Jack mentioned, considering Nevermind had blown up, it made sense for there to be another release before too much time passed. Incesticide consists of 15 songs, these songs having been recorded at various points throughout the years. Several of the songs on Incesticide had already been out on various other Nirvana releases. As a matter of fact, 9 of the 15 songs on Incesticide had already been released. Only 6 of the songs on the record had not previously been released. The 6 previously unreleased songs on the record are Hairspray Queen, Aero Zeppelin, Big Long Now, and the Maida Vale studio versions of Been a Sun, New Wave Polly, and Aneurysm.